If you want to live the life of a digital nomad, global citizen, or expat, it's not just your life that needs to go across borders, your personal finances do too. And taking your personal finances across borders means leveling up your money mindset as well and changing a few things with how your personal finances are set up. So in this video, I'm going to give you my top tips for managing your money and your personal finances across multiple different geographies and currencies like a true global citizen. Let's get right into it. So if you feel like that intro really spoke to you in terms of what you want out of life and what you need to do with your life, it's probably because you find yourself in a situation such as the following. Let's say you're living in one country or you're originally from another country, you're working across borders, you may be getting paid in one currency or in one country, you may be receiving, different kinds of payouts, salary, dividends, interests from deposits or loans, for example, property or business income. You're likely spending money in a different country to where you may be earning it from, or you may be spending money in different countries at the same time. And your savings and investments may also be in different countries as well. And whilst the world has moved forward greatly in terms of connectivity and technological advancements, the traditional banking offers and systems don't really accommodate for these kind of lifestyles and personal finance setups. And that means that the majority of people who have personal finance or business interests across multiple countries, they need to think a bit outside the box and go for different solutions. However, that doesn't mean just going and opening any random bank account or investing in property overseas just because it sounds like a cool thing to do, or because you heard someone on the internet saying that this was a good investment, that this is the place to be, etc., etc. It might be true that property or equities in a certain market are performing better than in your home country, or that you can get higher interest deposits if you have a bank account in X country, for example. But having these different assets kind of in isolation without any real strategy or cohesion behind it is not really advisable. Think about it like this. Basketball players like Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Pau Gasol, Michael Jordan, or football players like Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes are or were fantastic players of their respective sports, and in some cases are some of the greats that have ever played the games of football and basketball. But beyond their individual skills and talents and abilities is the fact that they played in very organized, structured, cohesive systems under the likes of Phil Jackson in the basketball example, and under the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson in the case of football. The point I'm making here is that you'll get the most out of your personal finances if you choose your assets, your bank accounts, your investments wisely as part of a broader plan or strategy. And so with that, let's get into 3 layers essentially of what a global personal finance system might look like. So first up would be your typical traditional local bank account. Now, in the majority of cases, this is pretty much inevitable, and it's probably highly advisable if you're spending any length of time or have got significant interests in a particular country. Because if you're earning money in that country, for example, or if you have bills to pay, then the easiest way to have that set up is to have a local account where your salary gets paid into, for example, and where your expenses and your bills go out. It's for everyday use and doesn't necessarily need to be anything particularly sophisticated, but is nevertheless an important component of that international system. As I mentioned earlier in the video though, when it comes to moving money between countries, foreign exchange, spending overseas, things like that, that's where a traditional bank account starts to see its limitations. And that's where a second layer comes in, where you have some kind of international or multi-currency banking solution. Something that will allow you ideally to send, receive, and hold multiple different currencies across borders, do so at competitive exchange rates without the high commissions that some of the banks are offering, and be able to move your money safely and securely between different currencies and jurisdictions. The solution that I use when I need to do this is Wise, who are very kindly sponsoring today's video. Because Wise lets you move your money and manage your money globally without the high fees and commissions that come in the likes of traditional banks. You can hold money in over 40 different currencies, and you can send and receive money with local banking details via Wise for over 20 different currencies. So if I've had expenses in the UK, for example, Wise has been really handy. Or the times I've traveled, whether it's been to the likes of Egypt, the UAE, Turkey, Romania, Georgia, loads of different countries, Wise has been there for me. I've been able to exchange money and spend that money in these different countries. countries in the local currency. And a really common scenario that many global citizens or expats find themselves in is the need to move large amounts of money, particularly for the likes of property purchases across borders, whether it's, for example, from the US to Spain or from the UK to Spain, for example. If you're looking to buy a property abroad, you probably got the funds at home, but need to transfer them locally and convert them into local currency. When you do that with Wise, Wise gets you the mid-market rate with no hidden fees, and for transfers over £20,000, there's automatic discounts applied. They've got a team of experts to ensure that those large transactions are completed smoothly and securely without any issues, and you can also track where your money is and how it's progressing in real time on the Wise app or website. I have personally done this myself in the past, and I understand that particularly when it's large amounts of money, it can be quite unnerving to move that money and to be sure that it arrives safely and on time. But my experience with Wise was really positive. As I say, I was able to track it in real time, and there was a team of experts there in case I needed them. So if you're looking to incorporate this second layer into your global personal finances and you think Wise is the right choice for you, then be sure to check out the link in the video description, where using my link, you'll be entitled to a first fee-free transfer on amounts up to £1,000. Thank you again, Wise, for sponsoring this video. And now let's move on to the third layer that will make up part of your personal financial system. And the third layer that we can't, of course, forget are your savings and investments, which we, of course, mentioned earlier in the video. So these are, of course, your long-term plays. It's not money that you expect to use in the short term, and probably the kind of investments, assets that you choose will depend on where you're located, where opportunity is, perhaps your overall investing strategy, and maybe if there's any tax benefits as well that can play a role in where you decide to invest, in where you decide to set up or locate different assets. I mentioned a number of them as we went through the video earlier. It might be funds, it might be property, it might be equities, it might be particular tax advantaged accounts if you're tax resident and meet the criteria in certain country. It might be a bank account in a different country that gives you a more preferential interest rate versus what you would get in your home country. And if you're watching this video, then most likely you are saving or you are investing to some extent. But people with an international lifestyle and global citizens, what exactly do they do that sets them apart from everybody else who's saving and investing as well? Well, the difference is, I would say, is that they look beyond the borders of their home country. They're not constrained by geography. They may be willing to invest in property or emerging market equities in a different country. They may be willing to open that bank account overseas, even if it means traveling to another country to be able to do so. Because the majority of investors, I'd probably even include myself in this group as well, we're constrained by home bias, which means we know our home markets, or we know the major stock markets or developed markets of the world, and we might tend to stick to that because it's what we know, it's what we're familiar with, and there's a lot of historical data which gives us a greater sense of predictability as to what to expect in the future. But to become a truly global investor, you need to throw that home bias out of the window and be open to new opportunities. Of course, big disclaimer, this is not investing advice, and you should, of course, do your own research and only stick to what you are comfortable with after doing all of the proper due diligence and making sure that you understand exactly what you're getting into. But just know that it is possible, and there is information out there where you can learn about different assets overseas, where you can find out more, and where you can expand your investing horizon a bit beyond your home country. So there you go, guys, my tips on setting up your personal finances globally. I hope you found this video interesting and informative. Remember to check out the video link as well to get your fee-free transfer up to £1,000 with Wise. Leave a comment and let me know how you're managing your personal finances across borders, if you're living in a different country from your home country, or if you have interests across the globe. And if you like this video and you want to see more videos about living abroad and having the life of a global citizen, then be sure to check out these two videos here. So next time, I'll see you on the next one, and let's get this money.